Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
We're back, and I'm sorry for the misfire there at the top of the hour. It looks like we've corrected the technical problem. I think we're firing on all cylinders now. I saw that we were actually running on all the channels. It's just that for some reason, in some places, some people could not see the main feed. Very odd, but we are up and running and here to bring you the top news stories of the day, which include coverage of the No Kings Rallies, of course, dominating the headlines today, and Trump escalating his conflict with Venezuela, the peace president rattling the saber, and what else do we have? I don't want to talk about him. I haven't decided if I will or not. You know what I'm talking about, that story that just won't go away, and people have lost their minds, and they have been texting me all day, just I think to get under my skin for doing my job. It's so emotional. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't, stick around. We'll fill you in on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk about the stupid ostriches later and the idiocy that encompasses all of that. And I'll tell you about the threats from the mindless zombies out there that have been just possessed by this thing to the point where, I don't know, they just, this is so fascistic. You have to fall into line and say exactly what they say and be on side with them, or they're going to take you out. Like, it just blows my mind what's going on out there. But maybe that's just human nature. Maybe we just had a brief respite from the insanity that is normalcy. I keep hoping we're going to get back to normal, and it's just not happening. Because I think that when we had normal, that was abnormal. And now people have just lost their freaking minds. And you see it in the streets down in the States, even today with these No Kings rallies, right? It's weird. And we're going to dig into this tonight too. You have all these rallies, these protests in every state across the United States. And yet you have people viewing these things, even as they watch videos or they're there in person, and they see it in entirely different ways. Either, realistically, or they just choose to ignore what is in front of them, or they just skew reality. It's bizarre how people, two groups of people, you can just take two people and they'll see the completely opposite thing. It is really, I guess that's human nature as well. It's what you choose to believe, what you choose to see, even when one thing is right in front of you. And it depends on your worldview, I guess, what lens you're looking uh, through to view the world. We'll show you. It's just bizarre to me, and people are so just entrenched in their viewpoints that there's no way to have a rational conversation with people anymore. I was gonna, I was thinking of opening the phone lines tonight, but I don't want to deal with the brain damage. I really don't, because, and when I say that, I mean it's just all just straight up emotion. You can't deal with facts with most people, and yet tonight, a glimmer of hope, because some people, some other streamers and influencers out there and political activists are just now catching up on information that I was conveying here months ago about those stupid birds. And they are stupid. They've got little teeny tiny brains, little wee ones. They're barely there. They are really stupid birds. Most birds aren't very bright. It's just, that's nature. They get teeny tiny heads and even tinier brains, and they're really dumb. And this story about the ostriches is just weird, and I'm sick of it. But I'll talk about it because you guys insist on it. But I'm not opening the phone lines, I don't think, because if I do, it'll just be a vomit fest of bullshit and emotion and personal attacks and people trying to shut the channel down. Got to shut that Walker down permanently. He's a liberal. Oh, go screw yourself. We'll talk about the threats even over the stupid birds. What the hell is wrong with people? And look at me. What am I talking about? I'm responding to it all. I was going to ignore it, but I can't, because it's just like an avalanche, like a tsunami of bullshit from Western Canada, BC, Edgewood, British Columbia, a tsunami of bullshit. It's constant. Half truths, selective information, and then just pure emotion as people pick and choose what they want to believe. I'm sick of it. This whole thing, this No Kings Rally, it's just another display of how divided America is. I feel like a lot of the U.S. politics, I don't feel it is. It's U.S. politics, U.S. style politics coming up here to Canada. We've been infected with that performative BS drama, theater, entertainment style, reality show, political environment that is down in the US, and it's now up here. And it really came to the surface during, I think, the pandemic. Before that too, but it's taken hold in Canada, and people have lost their minds. Let's see if I can find, is there anything live still going on out here? Probably out in LA. I had a live feed. Here we go. Yeah, we have this live feed coming up here. This is Los Angeles because, of course, the time zones, right? So some of these things have been winding down, like in New York and so on. Okay, let's pick up this feed from LA for the big No Kings protest out in Los Angeles. Rick, you're a liberal because you said something bad about, no, it's my job to say bad things about politicians when they do bad things, and I call them out on it. And, he deserves these bloody protests because of the stupidity that that Trump has been unleashed.
We'll also be monitoring this crowd here in
Los
front
Angeles,
of the federal
ABC
building.
7.
If things start to get tense between the protesters and LAPD, we will come right back here and come back on the web to to continue coverage on these demonstrations.
And then people are saying,
two
you know,
lines of LAPD officers in riot gear.
People are saying, well, this isn't organic. This is all planned, and these are paid protesters.
Protesters, otherwise, though, remaining
doubt.
peaceful, lined up against the police tape. We've seen a few people yelling across the police tape, but nothing past that, really.
Yeah.
And what officers want to do is prevent this from devolving into situations, for instance, that we've seen a couple of months ago when there were protests that had to be dispersed with less than lethal ammunition and tear gas.
Mm-hmm. You know, this was all across the U.S. Every state.
So we're going to keep these pictures up for you as long as we intercept.
Okay, and so in some cases, estimates in the hundreds of thousands today. In other cases, people saying millions. I don't know. I don't know. Just a lot of people, tons and tons of people in all cities, all major cities. Washington seems to have been the epicenter of the protests today. And yeah, you're in power, right? You're the president. So, of course, you become a target. And when you're in power, especially in a divided country, as soon as you're the guy in charge, you're going to take it on the chin. You're going to be criticized. Just live with it. Now you have these massive rallies all across the U.S. It comes with the territory, man, and we're covering it. And if you don't like it, well, I can't help it. Go watch Gilligan's Island. We did that last night. How did you like that movie? I thought that was fun. You know, and if you're the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, you're going to get criticized out there too. And we've called him out on stuff. And that's what happens when you're the big kahuna. So Trump's being forced to deal with the people who don't like him too much right now. And there are a lot of them in the streets, taken to the streets. And there's people saying, well, that's not organic. They're being paid, obviously, because how could it possibly be? Well, I'm sure that there are some paid protesters, and there's a lot of organic protesting going on as well, where people are just showing up, and then some of it looks very, very organized to me. I think it's a mix, just like everything else. Every other protest out there these days, some of it's organic, some of it's not. Here's the deal in NYC today, as marchers held signs calling Democratic governors and AOC Antifa in bold letters. And others are singling out Bernie Sanders, Zoran Mamdani. So these are like counter protesters. We'll show you some of this action in NYC. Of course, we carried the big Merrill debate the other night. I thought that was fun. There we go. Oh, that's the, there we are. What's this one look like? It looks like this. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel's Antifa. They're all Nazis, and Gavin Newsom's face was up there. I told you, if you're in charge, man, you're gonna get roasted. Okay, and how about this one? Okay, this I think is wishful thinking on the part of Nick Sorter. He this was earlier in the day today, and he's saying, well, when it gets dark, it's probably going to get really violent. Yeah, because you kind of want it to, so that you have material for your live streams, dude. Here you go. Listen to this. This is Fox News. Here you go.
resignations when the government out here allowed the entire city to burn down. So it's really possible that we could see pretty violent stuff happen here today. I hate to say that, but Kaylee, there was nothing planned here last night. It was just a normal Friday night out here, and it got this close to being a total out of control riot. And there weren't nearly. I mean, like I said, people drive by and honk. It's 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, waking all these people up. That's the most frustrating part to me.
Yeah, the poor
resignations.
It could get violent at any moment, and it's possible it could. Let's go back to the chopper.
A little bit
ABC and
away from the
LA.
building, so there's some separation there.
Oh, hang on. Somebody's making money, and it ain't me. Investors here. Okay, here we go. Back to our live coverage. ABC 7 LA.
Affecting traffic.
This
And
is not
this
anywhere near
is
the biggest crowd today. Not even close.
Connected indirectly to the No Kings Day demonstrations earlier today, but this is kind of an unplanned splinter group, if you will. The organizers of the No Kings Day protest didn't plan on having the protest move towards the federal building. This is kind of an unexpected development. As we see some good news there, the protesters kind of cleared out and let traffic at least flow for the moment. But they are causing a bit of a blockage here.
I see that.
That's Aliso Street from left to right. We're starting to see a little bit of verbal altercations going across that yellow police tape. And LAPD now donned in riot gear, holding this
What's
line.
that sign say? Or that flag? It's got a skull with crossbones.
As we've said, on the other side of that line is the federal detention facility where that really became news recently, as you see those federal officers there inside the fence of the federal detention facility. And as we know, that detention facility became news a few months ago because as a result of recent ICE raids, people who are arrested in those ICE raids are often taken to this very facility for processing. So we've seen a lot of demonstrations in front of this facility. We've seen some of those demonstrations become unruly. And police are hoping that we don't have a repeat of that here tonight.
Okay, we'll come back. We'll monitor. I think all is reasonably almost sort of kind of peaceful, even though they're clogging up the streets there. But we'll see how that goes through the evening. Look at this here. Okay, so this was Washington, D.C. Today, what is today? Saturday. October 18th, 2025. Oh, we were supposed to have a special guest tonight. I mentioned it last night, and she had to reschedule. So we'll have our special guest on in a week. I'm not telling you who it is. It's going to be a surprise. Just in case. It gets postponed again. Here's what it looked like in Washington earlier today. It's a pretty good crowd, as crowds go. So I don't know, man. Like, you add up all the cities across the U.S. in all the states. So if you took that crowd, multiplied it by, say, 50 states, how many people would that be? That's a lot of people. Would that be 1 million? Would it be 100,000? Really hard. You'd have to count heads. How could you do that? So if I did a grouping of people, if I just pull this up to get an estimate on the size of that crowd. So let's say this is an average size crowd, maybe. So there's 5. So there's 50, 100, 5, 200. So in the bottom section there, let's say you've got about, let's say about 500 people in that section. That'd be 500, 1,000, 15, 2, 25, 3,000, 3,500, 4, 4,500, 5, 5,500, 6, 65, 7, 75. You got to have, I bet you there's 15, 20,000 people there in total. As you go down the street, the crowds become more condensed visually, much more condensed, and it goes way down the street, as you can see. So I bet you they got 20,000 people out in Washington, D.C. through the day. So if you took 20,000 times 50. That's 1 million people. So maybe 1 million people. That's a lot of folks. It's a lot of humanoids out there on the streets protesting, rising up, as people say. And everyone's like, rise up, rise up. Now they're rising up. And the people I've been hearing for the past few years saying, rise up, are like, those people are terrorists. It depends on which side you're on. Let's go back to the LA thing again here for a moment. I think there's something going on.
Unsure what connection, if any,
they're making an arrest.
Other demonstrations taking place nearby. You see some of them right there on the bridge. So we've really seen this No King's Day protest kind of become decentralized, and there's lots of little groups on a few of the overpasses, and then now the big group of about 500 or so blocking traffic on Aliso and Alameda.
So they're saying this is like a splinter group in LA that isn't the main protest.
Formed a crowd now.
What's going on there?
Around this vehicle, and not sure if this car is trying to just get through traffic. You see somebody waving there. I'm not sure. Let's see. It's hard to tell if people are trying to wave somebody in for help. You see people motioning in a number of different directions, so I'm trying to listen to some of the police scanner traffic and look at this picture here as you guys are seeing this at home as well, and try and make out what's happening. It's very hard to tell.
No idea. Just a car stopped, and
this group is kind of an unplanned separation.
Probably somebody wearing a "Make America Great" hat again and driving in the driver's seat
near the federal building.
It's just, you're not going anywhere, pal. You're gonna stay right here. How dare you drive down this street? Okay, where else do we have for you? Oh, there's lots. There's lots of this stuff today. Bernie Sanders spoke. I think he was one of the biggest draws. He was in Washington, D.C. Lots of people watch this online today too. Let's just bring you a little of your favorite leftist. I know you love listening to Bernie. Some of the stuff he says seems to make sense, and other stuff I think is well, it's a little too socialistic for me, but here you go. rock star.
The Honorable Bernie Sanders.
And he's going to strap on his flying V guitar and give us a lick.
Thank you, Washington. Thank you, Indivisible. Thank you to the millions of Americans from our smallest towns to our largest cities in every state in our country who are gathering today at thousands of rallies.
Yeah, it isn't just the main
Mike
ones.
Johnson,
it's smaller ones too. Even in Canada.
the Republican Speaker of the House, called these rallies Hate America events.
They did. Yeah, they were hammering on that for a couple of days.
Boy, does he have it wrong. Millions of Americans are coming out today not because they hate America. We're here because we love America.
Fair enough.
We're here because we're going to do everything we can to honor the sacrifices of millions of men and women who, over the last 250 years, fought and sometimes died to defend our democracy and our freedoms. In 1776, with extraordinary courage, the founders of our country announced to the world that they would no longer be ruled by the King of England, a king who had absolute power over their lives. They demanded freedom. And to bring that about, they fought a bloody war against the British Empire and the most powerful military in the world. Tens of thousands of Americans died in that 8-year war, but our forefathers fought on and they won. And in 1789, after winning that war, they did something extraordinary. They established the first democratic form of government in modern history. They said loudly and boldly to the entire world, no more kings. In America, they said, we the people will rule. And today, no more kings, no more kings, no more kings, no more kings, no more kings. And today in the year 2025, in this dangerous moment in American history, our message is exactly the same. No, President Trump, we don't want you or any other king to rule us. Thank you very much, but we will maintain our democratic form of society. We will not move toward authoritarianism. In America, we, the people, will rule. When he was sworn in as the nation's first president, George Washington called this attempt at self-government, quote, an experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people, end quote. My fellow Americans, in an unprecedented way, that experiment is now in danger. It is in danger when we have a president who wants more and more power in his own hands and in the hands of his fellow oligarchs. It is in danger when we have a president who claims that peaceful protests in Portland, Oregon, or Chicago, Illinois, is an insurrection and calls in the U.S. military, and then threatens to arrest the mayors and governors who resist them.
I just want to stop it there for a moment and just ask you, does that story ring a bell? Thinking Freedom Convoy, Ottawa, peaceful protest, government crackdown. You see, it kind of works both ways, doesn't it? And yet, who's at the epicenter of all that? Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump. He was president when we had the lockdowns, president when the Freedom Convoy happened. I've shown you direct linkages from what was going on within some factions of what was going on at the Freedom Convoy, going right back to the White House, Trump at the time, Trump after, right? Yeah, and then like after Trump left office, still tentacles back there, still tentacles back to the Trump administration. But, you know, Trump was in office when the pandemic took hold. Then, you know, still kind of pulling strings with this almost like a shadow government thing afterward. The Freedom Convoy's there. There's still tentacles back, like linkages back. He's just at the center of all this. He's at the eye of the hurricane all the time, man. It's just he's always popping up wherever there's trouble.
It is in danger when we have masked agents working for ICE, breaking down doors, throwing people into vans without due process, and taking them to God knows where.
True.
It is in danger when we have a president who sues and intimidates the media, who wants no criticism of him and his policies, and who undermines the First Amendment of our Constitution, the very foundation of American democracy.
You know, at the center of it, freedom should not really be a left-right thing, really. Policies to get you there, yeah, it's debatable. But at the end of the day, it comes down to individual rights and freedoms. And if you're not safeguarding those things, if you're violating those things, then you're not in favor of freedom. Now, I don't know how you want to define conservatism, communism, socialism, fascism, whatever ism you want to talk about, or political stripe. But at the end of the day, it's about protecting people's rights. And as I've pointed out many, many times here, if you allow one person's rights to be violated, then you're allowing everybody's rights to be undermined, because it means that your rights aren't worth anything, that the Constitution is worth nothing.
Our country is in danger when we have a president who threatens to arrest or imprison political opponents who stand against him, including the Attorney General of New York State, a sitting U.S. Senator, and the Governor of California. It is in danger when we have a president who undermines freedom of thought and dissent at our colleges and universities, and who attacks law firms that oppose him in court. It is in danger when we have a president who threatens to impeach judges who rule against him. It is in danger when we have a president who ignores Congress, refuses to spend money that Congress appropriates, and takes away money from states who voted against him. It is in danger when we have a president who demands that states redraw congressional maps to ensure that his chosen candidates win future elections.
This is why people are on the streets.
It is in danger when we have a president who illegally fires tens of thousands of federal employees right here in Washington, D.C. and throughout our country, and rips up union contracts that workers have fought for and won. It is in danger when we have a president who grossly violates the Constitution by accepting gifts from foreign leaders, including a $400 million plane from the royal family of Qatar, and then allows that family to build an Air Force facility in Idaho.
That's true, too. It's true.
Well, let us be clear. This moment is not just about one man's greed, one man's corruption, or one man's contempt for the Constitution. This is about a handful of the wealthiest people on earth who, in their insatiable greed, have hijacked our economy and our political system in order to enrich themselves at the expense of working families throughout this country.
It's an oligarchy. It's true. It's true.
Yes. Yeah. I am talking about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Mr. Flying Dildo
Mark
Man.
Zuckerberg.
Yes,
and the other multi-billionaires.
I know.
Who were sitting right behind Trump when he was inaugurated. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
The very same billionaires who funded his campaign, who have bestowed gifts upon him, and who have seen huge increases in their wealth and power since Trump took office.
I know.
Yeah. Yes, I am talking about the insanity of one person, Mr. Musk, owning more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households.
I know.
I'm talking about the incredible injustice of the top 1% in America now owning more wealth than the bottom 93%. I'm talking about the richest people in America becoming much, much richer, while 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck, struggling every day to pay their rent and mortgages, pay for child care and education, pay for their health care and prescription drugs, afford decent quality food for their kids, and maybe, just maybe, put aside a few bucks for their retirements. I am talking about our nation, the richest country in the history of the world, having the highest rate of childhood and senior poverty of almost any major country on earth.
Yeah, it's true too.
I am talking about
why am I agreeing with this guy?
Having 85 million Americans uninsured or underinsured.
Yes, I know.
And 800,000 people who are homeless, including people a few blocks from here.
I know. What's going on in Canada is nothing compared to what they have going on down there. Really, it's true.
While Mr. Musk is on his way to becoming a trillionaire.
I mean, it's bad in Canada. It's way worse down there. Way worse.
I am talking about the incredible danger of the richest people in this country pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into artificial intelligence and robotics, which in the next decade will decimate tens of millions of jobs for the American working class.
Maybe. We don't know yet. Really, it's a
I'm
big
talking
question mark.
about a billionaire class who believe that they have the divine right to rule and who not only want massive tax breaks for themselves, but who reject any form of accountability or checks on their power.
An oligarchical technocratic populism has taken root in America.
My fellow Americans, we rejected the divine right of kings in the 1770s. We will not accept the divine right of oligarchs today.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of power there. Money is power. What's the golden rule? Those
and now let's take a look,
make the rules.
At where we are today. Where we are today on the 18th day of a government shutdown, which is depriving millions of federal employees of the paychecks they desperately need and deserve. Let me cut to the chase and tell you exactly what this shutdown is all about. As a result of Trump's big, beautiful, disgraceful bill.
Yeah. What an abomination
which
that thing
made
is.
massive cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. 15 million low-income and working-class Americans are going to lose the health care they desperately need to stay alive.
Listen up, Canadians.
My friends, studies suggest
you want to be
that when you throw those 15 million people off of the health care they presently have, 50,000 of them will die unnecessarily every single year. 50,000 Americans will die unnecessarily every single year. But that's not all. As a result of that same terrible piece of legislation, over 20 million Americans are going to see on average a doubling of their health insurance premiums through the Affordable Care Act. In my state of Vermont just the other day, people received notices from insurance companies that their health care premiums in some cases would triple or quadruple.
Wow.
And that is going on all over the country. At a time when we already pay, by far, the highest prices in the world for health care, millions of Americans are going to see outrageous increases in their health care premiums, which they cannot afford. And why is that happening? Why are the Republicans making a broken healthcare system, a dysfunctional healthcare system, even worse? Why are they bringing our healthcare system to the verge of collapse? We all know the answer. We all know the answer. It was to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, Mr. Zuckerberg, Mr. Ellison, and the rest of the 1%. $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid and the ACA, $1 trillion in tax breaks for the 1%. That, my fellow Americans, is what this shutdown is all about.
Okay, enough of Bernie. he goes on for quite a while. Keep in mind that especially, do you remember, especially during the early days of the Trump MAGA movement, Bernie was seen as sort of an alternative or another option for a lot of people within MAGA. He's been very popular with people associated with MAGA. There's a reason for that. It's because most people are not that ideologically entrenched. A lot of people, most people, I would say, don't even really fully understand what the terms really mean. I'm a conservative. I'm a socialist. I'm a democratic socialist. That most people don't really understand the meanings. They just vote for things that they think are good for them, which is generally what people should be doing. Is it a good thing for me, for my country, for my community? I'm going to vote for this guy because of these policies. A lot of the time, though, they're just picking a team. But that's why Sanders and Trump really appealed, I think, to people on the same side. That a lot of the MAGA people, just like RFK Jr., first a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, then an independent, then joins MAGA. And not a political opportunist for sure, but at the inside, the guy is not a conservative. And people are like, RFK Jr. is awesome. No, man, he's from the other side. He's not a conservative. Trump's not a conservative. He used to be a Democrat too. And he's definitely not a fiscal conservative. He's not a free market guy at all. If he was, he wouldn't be embracing tariffs. That's not what fiscal conservatism is. Fiscal conservatism is laissez-faire, Adam Smith style economics. Hands off, government's hands off, the invisible hand. Let the invisible hand, the law of the economic law of nature, let that dictate where prices and supply meet. Like demand and supply, demand. And there's your price point. And that's how you determine things. Free competition. That's not what Trump is about. He's like, we can't compete. We'll just put tariffs on. He's not a free market conservative. So don't even begin to talk to me about what I am, because these people accusing me of being a liberal don't know the first freaking thing about what they're talking about, generally speaking. They think Trump's a conservative. He's a Republican because they took over the Republican Party. It's now the MAGA party. It's the Donald Trump party. And yeah, is he enriching himself? Goddamn right. At every turn, whether it's his Trump meme coins or some handout that he's picking up from, or some bribe or whatever from another country, like the Qatari jet that he picked up for $400,000. Like that's almost a half, 400 million, really. That's almost $500 million in a stupid jet that the United States will go bankrupt fueling because it's such a pig on gas. But that's not where it ends. I mean, with him, it's like everything. He's made so much money since coming into office. Some estimate like $1 billion, maybe more. And have you seen this? This is just his latest thing. If it's not Trump meme or what was it, digital trading cards, tokenized, then it's Trump frickin' watches. This is the newest thing I've heard about. And we're going to reject these cookies so they can't track us. Official Trump watches, limited edition.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this Trump red time. Beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know.
It's a Rolex knockoff. The style.
Exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. These make a great gift. It's Trump time.
They started, I think, $500. I know a little bit about watches. I have a thing for watches, like a lot of guys do, just because I think they're mechanical and they're gizmos. So I like watches. They look like they're made in China to me. They claim the cheaper ones, I believe, they say they have a Seiko movement, I believe, Japanese movement. I think what you're buying there is a watch that's probably worth somewhere in the vicinity of like $100, and they're charging you $500 because it's the Trump time watch. If you want the good one that they claim has a Swiss movement, I think you're well over $1,000 US for one of those Trump watches. Get Trump watches. This is in no way an endorsement. In fact, I would say don't buy one. So I'm not getting paid. Trust me. I don't think they're worth the money. Not from what I'm seeing in terms of quality. These look just like Chinese knockoffs to me. And the Chinese knockoffs use Seiko movements. Just saying. So buyer beware. But if you love DJT, there's your watch. I don't think Trump even wears a watch, does he? Normally. And I don't think that he would wear one regularly himself. It would be just too ghetto for him. Mr. Golden Era. The Trump Golden Era. Anyway. Too much. What else do we have from today? Let's go back to LA because it's still live. We're still going live there. Still live, I believe. Still live. Still live. Where's the Trump rally? No, I guess it's ended. The live feed. I think it's over. The live feed. Is it? I'll see. Just checking back in. Any more arrests or anything? Yeah, the live feed's over with. So I don't think anything, super major. Anybody, you got any word on any like major violence at this point? Because I've seen no reports of any major problems. Is this no, this is something unrelated. I'm just seeing if I can find any evidence of any skirmishes, violence, fighting. Not seeing any. I'm going to check the chat. Anybody got any word on that? Yeah, Cindy says they look like dollar store watches. They don't look very high quality to me at all. The watch bands, the housings, it looks like really crude, not well machined. I don't know what the weight is like, but they look like Chinese watches to me. High markup because that Donald J. Trump, signature on the face of the watch. That's what you're paying for. My daughter, years ago now, during Trump 1.0, bought me a Donald J. Trump wallet. Yeah. For Christmas one year. I have to admit, it was a good wallet. It was a very good wallet. It lasted for years. It had a little Donald Trump metal thing that would stick right into my butt when I put the wallet in my back pocket, but that wallet lasted. So it was quality, not like like it wasn't worth any more than any other quality wallet that I've ever had, but it lasted as long as anything I have had. I don't know about the ties. I understand they're made in China. The watches are made, I believe, with components or parts that are assembled in the United States. That's what they claim. Maybe what the assembly involves taking the watch and assembling it inside a box to ship to you. That would be my guess. Perspective. It's all about perspective. Let's take a look at. So this is, I think, the number 1 anti-Trump live stream podcast YouTube channel online right now. The Midas Network, right? I think a lot of us have seen that. And this is how their coverage sort of kicked off today. I just want to compare notes from both sides of the political spectrum for you.
Well, if you're tuning in from outside of the United States and wondering, well, just how large is the movement against the current president? Well, here's a sneak peek.
Look at this. Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC.
I know what it's like to come home when you are 5 years old and your dad is not there. And I am still standing.
Well, are you all ready to defend this democracy? Are you ready to fight fascism? Are you prepared to destroy authoritarianism once and for all? Well, let the world hear you. No kings.
This straight.
Okay. So that gives you a little taste of that. Let me, here, we'll go back.
Swelling resistance to the president's push towards authoritarianism on full display. Now, as you may recall, back in mid-June, millions of Americans took to the streets in cities and towns all across the country in the first No Kings protest of this second go at fascism. As you may recall, back in mid-June, millions of Americans took to the streets in cities and towns all across the country for the first stab at the No Kings protest, and what many assumed to be the largest single-day protest of this era, up until this weekend.
Okay, so we've seen somebody repeating himself. Let's dip out of that. Let's go on the other side. For that, you have to go over to another platform. You're not gonna get a true read on this from anything on YouTube, I don't think. Let me find this. I had it queued up. What's this guy's name again? I don't really watch him. Matt Morse. Okay, so this is how his coverage kicked off today. And just like Nick Sorter, I think there's some wishful thinking here that, gee, I hope it gets violent so we have something to talk about. I shouldn't say that, but I think there's truth in it. I think a lot of these people on both sides really want to fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. Welcome to the show. My name is Matt Morris. You are tuning into Matt Morris TV. We are live right now on Rumble at Matt Morris TV and on YouTube at Matt Morris TV. Folks, it is Saturday.
Yep, it is.
October the 18th, and it is No Kings Day. This is the second nationwide No Kings rally, march, protest, riot, whatever you want to call it. Last time in June, during the first No Kings Day, it did devolve into riots in Los Angeles and Chicago specifically. Now, today, by the way, folks, we're going to be doing all-day coverage. I am going to be here all day. We are not going to miss anything. We're going to be here so much that you're going to be sick of me by the end of the day. So everybody, take a seat. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe. We have...
share, and subscribe my channel. That'd be nice.
Today. We have a lot to cover today.
You can do it today, if you want.
Like I said, these protesters, I'm trying to find the locations here. They have over 2,500 protest locations scheduled, planned, premeditated all across the country. 2,500 locations. Not a single state is spared from this nonsense. And it's going down right now. In fact, as you saw, they are already marching through the streets of D.C. They're expecting, they say, millions and millions and millions of people. So right now, we have a live feed up in the top right corner of today's broadcast. This is New York City. And up on the main feed here, we're looking at Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. As far as I understand it, ladies and gentlemen, Washington, D.C. is kind of the primary location, primary target, whatever you want to call it. So I think probably we're going to be watching what's coming out of Washington, D.C. the most. Oh, look at that. It's a free Palestine flag. They must not have heard the news that President Trump actually about a week ago, he already freed Palestine. They must not have heard the news.
What? What? The perspective on this stuff. Any news story today, people just have these really polarized views. I wasn't aware that Palestine had actually been freed. But last I checked, they were going to have this board of peace governing over Palestine, and Donald Trump was going to be the head honcho for that. They're going to put in some sort of a provisional. I don't know. I don't think they're quite free yet, man. They're not self-governing, and they're certainly not sovereign. So there's not much freedom there, other than they're not going to get bombed. Maybe I don't know.
Now we have a big super chat, bright and early in the morning. This is Cassandra Hughes. Thank you very much, Cassandra. I appreciate that, Mrs. Hughes. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody, thank you for tuning in.
And
man, it's going to be one hell of a day. Now, listen, in D.C. on the East Coast, the protest doesn't actually technically start for another 20 minutes. So we are live early. This is kind of the early show here. You can see. Let's tune in for a minute and see what they're talking about. We'll take a look.
Are dressed up. Some are dressed
just for a
down.
moment here.
Some people have their flags up. Some people are standing while others are sitting.
And then important.
They're kind of gathering right now. They're gathering up.
Which
ICE equals Gestapo. The Nazi Germany secret police. Unbelievable. Folks, can we do a little bit of a precursor information bombshell here? And then we're going to actually start tuning into all of this. And like I said, we're going to be here all day. This is no King's Day. The rallies, they say, are expected to draw millions of people across the U.S. in protest against President Trump because he is allegedly a king. And by the way, I have to say, folks, this is the official Democrat page on Twitter. The Democrats. This is their flyer. No kings, 10, 18, 25. Does this seem a little bit ominous? Maybe I'm being a little bit paranoid here. Does this seem a little bit weird? They've got it's a bullseye. They've got a big cross. And of course, it's technically above President Trump's head. They superimposed this crown over his head. Listen, President Trump, as a little reminder, President Trump quite literally got shot in the head about a year and a half ago on the campaign trail. This seems a little bit ominous. I take this as a threat. This is the sitting president. He's not the king. He is the democratically elected president.
Okay, wait. Put the brakes on. Okay, just for a moment. Please, everybody, take a look at that. You can decide. To me, that doesn't look like a like you're looking through a scope on a rifle. That would be a circular thing with, little hash marks and a cross, one vertical, one horizontal, right? And this is an X over a crown on his head, crossing out the crown, like no king. Take the crown off the guy's head. That's what I see. I'm going to go to the chat. Is that what you... Yeah, that's Cindy says, yeah, that X is on the crown, not on his head. Yeah, I don't see that at all. I think maybe he's exaggerating and creating a reality, a narrative for his audience.
This seems a little bit weird, a little bit threatening. I would personally probably look into whoever made this poster. We're talking about whether...
Oh, I see, Mr. Free Speech. Let's employ a little cancel culture and go after whoever made that poster with the X on the crown, and now you turn it into something it isn't. Oh, my God. It's just so disingenuous, so hypocritical, and the left is just as bad. When they're in power, they want to cancel the people on the other side. I don't know if anybody actually believes in free speech
or not today
anymore.
Could get violent.
Very few.
Independent journalist Nick Sortor this morning, he gave his opinion. Of course, he's been on the ground. In fact, he actually is on the ground outside of the Portland ICE facility today. Take a look.
Resignations when the government out here allowed the entire city to burn down. So it's really possible that we could see pretty violent stuff happen here today. I hate to say that, but Kaylee, there was nothing planned here last night. It was just a normal Friday night out here, and it got this close to being a total out of control riot.
That's at the Portland ICE facility last night.
And there weren't nearly... I mean, like I said, people drive by and honk. It's 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. waking all these people up. That's the most frustrating part to me.
Yeah, the poor.
And I'll tell you what, listen, before anybody says...
It's been a daily thing at that place in Portland, the ice facility there. It's just been a constant, push and pull between the protesters and the authorities there every day. It's just the way it's been. I don't know that yesterday was really any different. We brought you video from that.
As my thumbnail of today's broadcast is clickbait, the image from today's thumbnail, which has the tear gas and the riot police, that is a photo from the last No Kings peaceful protest, which ended up devolving into a riot. The police in Los Angeles and Chicago were firing off tear gas. So before anybody says, hey, it's a peaceful protest, it's not going to be anything more. There's no way it's going to be violent. Well, a couple months ago over the summer during No Kings protest day number 1, it did devolve into it did become a riot. We did have police officers and federal officers getting assaulted by these violent No Kings rioters. Okay, so we have seen this before. We have seen how this stuff kind of devolves. We've seen how it's gone. And I want
these protesters on the one side, they're saying, if you're on the one, we're peaceful. On the other side, you're violent insurrectionists. It's what lens you choose to view it through. And here we go with the Antifa stuff. Andy who I've had a lot of I've always viewed his work as being very credible. I don't know. I'm the jury for me is out on him, but I'm watching him to see if there's too much bias in his reporting these days. Not sure. Let's take a look at this.
I want to show you some information before things really get kicked off today. Folks, take a look at this. This is courtesy of Andy He said Antifa have been posting flyers around the ICE facility in downtown Portland calling for their violent militants to embed themselves within the No Kings protest and agitate for violence. They call for that direct action. The call for that direct action originates on the Antifa online collective, Crime Think. It's a website they have. And so they've been posting flyers. This is from Antifa. The No Kings March is meant to pacify people. It is organized by feds with an interest in quelling meaningful, effective social uprising. F their lib march. Let's show them what real anti-fascism actually looks like.
Yeah, and Antifa has been very violent. I've called them out on that, and we've seen Antifa actually attack Andy in the past. He suffered a concussion at one point. I remember that. That's when he really rose to prominence as a social media influencer, especially on the conservative, if you will. I don't know, it's not conservative, the populist side, the MAGA side. And I have no doubt that the what you're looking at there is authentic. And I find the language here very interesting, though, because I see people on the freedom side, not everybody, but certain elements of it, using the same language, the same reasoning, same messaging. It's transferable, because I think that a lot of the people that claim to be on a conservative side, they're not. They're on a socialistic side, maybe a national socialist side. I would put that way over on the left with the people on the left. They're on the left. They're authoritarian. They are socialists. They are. Trump's not a conservative. He embraces all these socialistic, central planning, economic policies.
So this is coming out of this. These are Antifa flyers getting posted all over the place in downtown Portland. Another one here. No names, no phones, black clothes that you have never worn before, masks, gloves, use the military guys in your ranks. Antifa, Trantifa, the far left extremists on Blue Sky are discussing some of their plans on how they hope to use the No Kings anti-Trump protest to instigate violence. So Antifa, and
no doubt. And did you see, just let me go back. I don't know if I can cue it up enough. Did you see that account right there? She Guevara. Yeah. She Guevara, not Shay. It's just she, because it's somebody with the profile. They've turned the image of Che Guevara. It's probably the actual person for the account, which puts a female face, Che Guevara, a feminist Che Guevara. That's funny. And that's on Blue Sky. Let's go over to Blue Sky and see what we encounter over there as we do a Blue Sky scroll. Okay, I don't really go on Blue Sky very often. Not too, in fact, never. I do have an account there where I sort of post stuff and then I just leave. I really don't scroll or use it. I'm not sure how many users they even have. I know that it's oriented toward Democrats, more people on the left, right? No, I don't mean like the left, right. I mean on the left. You know what I mean? So here's what's going on Blue Sky. The Guardian, that's just a news story of some kind. New Yorker. This is what they're feeding me, okay? So the algorithm will be attuned to my sensibilities, I guess. Tennessee Lookout. That must be some sort of a media outlet. Not familiar with them. Scenes from Memphis. Peaceful protests with around 7,000 people. Peaceful, they say. 7,000, no kings, okay. Resist, resist. Oh, where do I hear that all the time? Freedom movement, same language, same ideas, just opposing whatever government of the day is in there. What flavor do we have today? The government du jour. Okay. Tennessee Lookout again. The only arrest reported today at Tennessee's 33 No Kings protest was that of a 71-year-old Anna M. Grabowski in Monroe County. She was charged with obstructing a highway passage and failure to obey a law enforcement officer, and bond was set at $5,000. Ooh, that's pretty high bond. Across Tennessee, No Kings protesters push back on Trump administration policies. Keep on scrolling down. Ron Filipkowski is posting... So no terrorism then. So it says here, the majority of the No Kings protests have dispersed at this time. This is from New York police. And all traffic closures have been lifted. We had more than 100,000 people across all 5 boroughs peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights, and the NYPD made 0 protest-related arrests. You know what? Like, if that's true, and if that's coming directly from police, and that is a NYPD post, I would say that's an achievement. If you can get that many people, 100,000 people, out to a protest in a country that is that politically divided, in what is that, the largest city in the United States, one of the largest cities in the world, where they have a lot of, social issues there, and you can pull that off and not have any arrests made, hats off to the NYPD, and honestly to the people who came out to protest. You did it right, I guess. Here's Midas Touch again. What are they saying?
Patriotism, people rise. I am out here in the Los Angeles area for one of the many No Kings protests that are happening across the city. The crowd here is incredible, a lot of energy, a lot of patriotism, people rising up to say peacefully and proudly, no kings in the United States. It is so incredible to see. I love seeing all of your videos, all the pictures and videos that you are posting. So keep it up, and remember to follow Midas Touch for all the updates. We are hearing that these may be the single.
So keep in mind, too, that I think Midas Touch is not really, it's not just like organic. It is a coordinated media outlet with a definite bias, a definite political agenda that has become more apparent over time. When I first came across it, I didn't know what it was. I started to take a look at it. You see now that it really is. It's a funded political platform. Pretty much Democrat, social Democrat. I don't know if it's directly funded by a party. I suspect that there's probably Democrat funding that goes into it. And then you now have Charlie Angus on the Canadian side that has started the Midas Touch network in Canada. And he's a featured speaker guest on the Midas Touch. Nothing wrong with that, as long as people understand what it is. We have a lot of that going on in Canada now too. It's a new thing on social media that most people are not aware of. They're thinking that this stuff is news. It is not news. It is political activism, political commentary, political information warfare being conducted lawfully People are entitled to their free speech, but you should understand the context and the perspective of these things, because these platforms, these people are funded by political organizations. And what you're seeing in terms of the numbers and the people watching, that's all also elevated, amplified, and paid for in many cases, where they pay to boost those posts to generate bigger and bigger numbers to promote their messaging. Let's keep on scrolling down. What else are we seeing here today? Repost if you agree America does not have any kings, and we do not want any. No kings. This is from the SEIU union. And here's Mark Hamill. Oh, I saw him at a talk show the other day. I think he just did a new movie or something. This is what democracy looks like. This was 5 hours ago, posting these images. That's a big rally too. Look at the number of people there, and all down the street, and then in the in front of the stage area. Oh, a lot of people on the street there. I've seen that earlier today. That's an MSNBC photo that he's sharing out. Thank you, Luke Skywalker. And that's okay. You know, I believe in everybody having a voice. I do believe in free speech. That's why I bring people from across the political spectrum onto our program. And a reminder that on November 1st, we will be broadcasting live the People's Party of Canada State of Our Nation Gala, their big event every year. And we'll be running that right here on Maverick News, and also through the PPC website, where you can watch the feed over there as well. And that's because, you know, we do believe in giving everybody a voice. So some of you are conservatives, you don't like the PPC or whatever. We're gonna broadcast it, because we will give those folks a voice here. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to cover the event. It's news, and we're going to provide that coverage. And this is stuff that I'm pretty sure you're not going to see on mainstream media. So the PPC event, November 1st, right here, should start at 6 p.m. that day. Let's keep scrolling down. What else am I seeing? I'm going to re-queue this whole thing on Blue Sky just to see if there's anything fresh before we move on to our next grouping of material from Madisonville, Tennessee. Friends of 71-year-old Anna Grabowski posted $5,000 bond to get her released from Monroe County Justice Center. Grabowski was released from, or she was arrested during Monroe County's No Kings protest, the only arrest at 33 events in Tennessee Saturday. She's out. Yeah, they have funds, don't they? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And, you know, every time somebody's arrested, it seems like somebody comes to the rescue. Usually it's you, because you donate to fund the legal battles. So here's pro-Democrat feed. Minneapolis, Chicago. A lot of people. Can't deny it. Can't deny that. That's real. That's real. And that's a wide shot. You know, there's a trick in the news business. If you want to make a small crowd look huge, what you do is you walk back as far, way back, and then you take your lens and you zoom in optically. And the more you zoom in on a small crowd, the more the image becomes condensed, and the people look closer and closer together. And you can make even a small group of people look like a big crowd. It's an optical thing, an optics thing with the lens. But in this case, this is from a drone shot up high, wide. So there's no question those are large crowds. I can tell you just visually that I don't have an exact number, but I can tell you they're big. How big was was Canada's Freedom Convoy? How many people were there? Maybe 100,000, I've heard, at the top end. Some people have said 1 million, but that's not true. Maybe over the course of the entire protest over a number of weeks. But even then, you know, most people that peaked on the weekends dropped off during the week. I don't think a lot of the same people came. So in terms of actual real, like just individuals, maybe 100,000, but look at what they just put together across the United States today for the second time. There's no denying this is huge. Is it organic? No, not entirely. Not really. It's promoted online. They've spent a lot of money. They have a lot of different organizations helping to organize this stuff. Unions get involved for sure, and they have a lot of organizational power. Are they paying people? In some cases, probably. And then you have all the, the subgroups like Antifa getting involved too. So you've got good actors, bad actors, people there, just out to protest because they decided to come out. Other people coming out because they're part of a group. All people there for a lot of different reasons, which is what I've been saying all along, even about what happened in Ottawa, what we see going on at a lot of these protests in Canada right now. It's, more than one thing can be true at the same time because a lot of people are there for a lot of different reasons. That being said, they got a lot of people out today, undeniable. That's just factually observable. Here's Bill Nye, the science guy. He even came out. Some people are like, well, Bill, why are you there protesting and speaking, you leftist? Because he's kind of on the left. It's got nothing to do with science. It has everything to do with politics. So he speaks about the Vietnam War in his address. Where was he speaking today? Was he in Washington? I think he was in Washington. Yeah, he's in Washington. Okay, let's bring up this clip. Bill Nye, the science guy. I remember, last thing I kind of remember about him wasn't he going on about, didn't they wheel him out to promote the COVID vaccines? Anyway, here's the dude.
I remember well the Vietnam War. The mall was shoulder to shoulder, much as it is today. Traffic stopped citywide. The protest movement expanded. There were protests around the country, and the war was ended. We are protesting in the same fashion today. Only today, the stakes are higher. Rather than abandoning a war against an elusive, perhaps sometimes imaginary foe, we are confronting the possible end of our republic. We are here to tell our lawmakers that what's going on in our government is wrong. They must stop the abuses of this petulant president and his circle of sycophants. No thrones, no crowns, no kings.
No science. It's all politics. But he's entitled to his voice too, so that's cool. I'm all right with that. We ran your clip there, Bill. We gave you a voice here tonight too. In Canada, some people getting on board with the whole protest because, in Canada, we get so jealous of what goes down in the United States. We don't really have just our own stuff. We watch so much American TV. We get so involved in everything going on down in the United States. We import our politics largely. So this was a big No King's Day protest in Kanakistan, where, of course, we do actually have a king, which I have to say, I don't really have a problem with it because people in Canada who are not really, and is through no fault of anybody's, not really well educated on how the political system in Canada works. They don't understand the role of the king, which is to say that he actually is there to facilitate the voice of the people and the will of Parliament. He's not there to make laws because he doesn't. The king does not make laws for Canadians. But we can discuss that in greater detail another day, and I will. I'm still working on a project. I've been working on it for months, and I'm hoping to finish it fairly soon if I can find time instead of sitting in this chair talking every night. But here's what happened in Kanakistan today.
No Trump, no KKK! No fascist USA! No Trump, no KKK! No fascist USA! No Trump, no KKK! No fascist USA! No Trump!
It's got a good rhythm. You can kind of dance to it. Could be a hit. Maybe we can make a melody out of it. Turn it into a song. What else we got going on here? Chicago Tribune. They say that 100,000 protesters showed up in Chicago. So if those numbers are true, yeah, I'd say at least 1 million across the U.S., probably more. Because I think those numbers are actually bigger than I was estimating originally. So you could easily have 1 million protesters across the United States today. That's a lot of folks. Aerial shot there. Look at that. That's a lot of people. Holy smokes. I always liked going to Chicago. The Miracle Mile, where I can't afford to buy anything. And what you bet you could find some Trump watches down there. There's a, I think it's still there. There's a Trump Tower, a Trump building with his name on it in Chicago. He's made his mark there. No denying the success. And this is not AI. No, this is real. The movement, natural, there's a lot of definition between each of the human beings and the imagery. So I'd say that's real video footage. That's not just AI generated. So that's today, and coming from, I'd say, a reputable source. So that gives you a sense. Oh, I love it down there too. That's very scenic. There are rough areas in Chicago, to be sure. No question about that. But so too is the case in every city, which again makes me wonder why do Canadians want to join and be the 51st state when you see all the problems they have down there? Even the president says that these cities are, excuse my language, but shithole cities. Yeah, we got to be the 51st state. We'd be a lot better off. I don't think so. We have our problems, but you travel around in the U.S. and they have more serious problems. They really do. Not that I'm against the U.S. I love the United States. Don't get me wrong. I love it down there, but it's a much bigger place. They've got way bigger social issues, and their social safety nets are not as robust. And Trump is not making things better for people. He's resulted in more division within the country. He's isolating the United States from the rest of the world. And I totally get why people are out in the streets protesting. And this is coming from a guy who, right here, I thought I was calling him out for good things, especially during Trump 1.0. But what he's doing now, not like that. And what he's doing in Venezuela, it blows my mind. I, again, see that as personally, I see it as a violation of international law. I have real concerns about the way he's behaving down there. I see all the earmarks of regime change in the works from a guy who claims to be the peace president. And here today, headline ABC, Trump says 2 survivors of U.S. strike on a submarine being sent to Ecuador and Colombia in a move that avoids a legal fight. So what he has done here is he has sidestepped a real legal dilemma for his administration, because he's been blowing these boats out of the water off the coast of Venezuela, calling the occupants narco-terrorists, saying that they're laden with illicit drugs bound for the United States, saying they are in an armed conflict with Venezuela, or the Venezuelan drug cartels, not offering actually any proof at all, but in sort of snuff film style, posting videos of the ships being blown up by the U.S. Navy, where the armed conflict seems to be pretty lopsided. And it's an extreme departure from the way the United States would normally deal with something like that, where you would normally intercept the boat, board it, take people into custody, maybe wait until they're in U.S. waters to be sure they're coming into your country. But no, he's right off the coast of Venezuela, blowing them up. And we are seeing, I think this was some sort of a submersible. Were they transporting drugs? Probably. I don't have much doubt about it, but there's really been no proof offered. And Trump has just become judge, jury, executioner and getting away with it because he's using, frankly, take note, the same legal provisions that allowed George Bush to do the same thing when he initiated the war on terror. And then criticized by many people. For taking people's freedoms away and using that as a pretext for doing that in America. And Trump is he's using the exact same language. Not just there, but in America. He is calling his political opponents, people protesting in the streets. He's using the phrase, people within the MAGA movement are using the phrase, and I've shown you that tonight, they're calling the protesters terrorists. You need to be very careful about that, because as soon as you do that, you are taking those people's rights away. If you're a terrorist, then you have very diminished rights under the law. Terrorism is seen as an act of war without the sanctioning of a state, and you basically have no rights. So if he's able to convince enough people through repetitive messaging, an advertising technique called frequency, where they just keep using that phrase over and over again, terrorist, 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 and they apply that to people domestically, including U.S. citizens, they're doing an end run around people's rights. And if they can do it to those people, when the tables turn and eventually you get another change in government, if there's ever another election in the country, some people think maybe not, but if there is, then the other side's can do it to you. And that's what's going on in the U.S. That's why it's so damn dangerous. All this rhetoric. Freedom for one depends on freedom for all, and vice versa. It works the other way as well. In order for that one person to have freedom, everybody has to have freedom. You need to preserve the Constitution. You need to preserve people's rights. Defend those things, even if it's for someone you disagree with. And we'll give people a voice here across the political spectrum, and we'll defend people's rights. That's what this place is all about. It's not even just about left versus right. It's about freedom and the preservation of people's rights in a free democratic society through journalism and truth. Can't have freedom without a foundation of truth. So here's another post tonight from Democratic Wins Media. Whatever that is. Breaking, analysts are calling this the biggest protest in American history. So that's their claim. Let's bring it up and see what they're saying about all this. We went back to the stuff off the Venezuelan coast. Yeah, Trump avoiding a whole legal issue there. He's setting the back. But isn't it interesting? Did you notice that the people are from Ecuador and Colombia on that boat, not Venezuelans? I'm not exactly sure what that means, but he's targeting Venezuela with all of this stuff, saying it's all Venezuela. It's a Venezuelan problem. It's narco terrorists from Venezuela. They're targeting Maduro, and yet the two survivors from Ecuador and Colombia, not Venezuelans. So he's sending them back to their home countries. Regardless of the country, if they're bringing drugs in, I'm against it, obviously. And yeah, you should hold them accountable. And I guess they're going to stand trial back in their home countries, or so we're told. We will see. I don't know where that all goes, and we'll never probably pay any attention to it now that they're just being shipped on back to their homelands. Here's this post from Democratic Wins Media. Analysts are calling this the biggest protest in American history. It's far bigger than any rally Donald Trump has ever had. This is Boston, Rallies just like this are happening in cities big and small all across the country. Let's go, it says. Oh, where do I hear that phrase all the time, too? Let's go, let's go, let's go! On the freedom side over here. Oh, very conservative.
Look at this. Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC. Wow.
Okay. It's a lot of people. I don't think MSNBC is that friendly to Trump. Never has been. Yeah, and just back to this whole boat thing of Venezuela. I mentioned this the other night. Republicans, just some of them coming right out and saying the quiet part out loud, that what's really at hand here is an attempt at regime change in Venezuela, where Maduro has been targeted, accused as being a communist who stole the election and is illegitimate and therefore targetable, and that any action by the U.S. government basically then becomes justified, since he himself is being accused of facilitating the drug trade, and he himself is therefore a narco-terrorist, and he himself therefore could be, I don't know, taken out, assassinated. We've also heard in recent last 2 days, Trump confirming that he has approved covert CIA activity in Venezuela. He acknowledged it. He said it right out loud. Usually it's just deny, deny, deny. You never admit that kind of thing out in the open. But here he is. He's just, oh, yeah, I'm doing it. But wouldn't say what the end goal was supposed to be. But it's pretty obvious. And here's Rick Scott on Fox News basically saying the quiet part right out loud. I'm telling you. I said it from the beginning. This smacks of regime change.
Look, I've been fighting for liberty and freedom in Venezuela for years. I've been fighting against drugs coming out of Venezuela for years. Maduro is not the president of Venezuela. He didn't win the election. All right? Edmundo Gonzalez won the election. Nicolas Maduro is the head of drug cartels. El Cartel de los Solos, El Tren de Aragua. So I am glad that President Trump and Marco Rubio are dedicated to getting rid of all narco traffickers. Maduro's one of them. So if that means Maduro's out of power, that is going to be a great day for the world. I know they've raised the bounty to $50 million. I've got a bill to raise it to $100 million for Nicolas Maduro to be in prison. I can't wait for that day to happen. It is going to happen. I think Nicolas Maduro's days in power are clearly numbered.
So in his first administration, the president tried to get at Maduro with U.S. sanctions, ending recognition of his government. This from Politico. Trump has a different plan to oust Maduro this time around. I believe Trump is willing to escalate his anti-cartel campaign, but I'm not convinced he'd ever send a full-on invasion force to topple Maduro. That's partly because it could trigger alarm bells in the MAGA base, which has a strong isolationist streak. What it doesn't rule out, though, is something like a bin Laden-type raid to get Maduro, or to put enough pressure on him that Maduro capitulates to Qatar, which has offered to act as a mediator here.
I think if Maduro's smart, he's going to go ahead and move to Russia or China, someplace like that, because his days are numbered. The public of Venezuela don't want him. They rejected him in the last election. He stole the election. He's a dictator. He's a drug cartel leader. So his days are numbered. However they do it, I look forward to the day that he's no longer in Venezuela. It'll be great for the world.
But does he have babies in incubators? Did he take them out, put them on the floor, or where are the weapons of mass destruction? And I just have to wonder, why does Trump care? Why does the United States care? Why does the government care? Like, what kind of impact does Venezuela really have on the U.S. other than, the drug trade, which if they, I think, wanted to get serious about it, they could just plug up the holes, stop it from coming into the country. I don't see it being that difficult, honestly, without having to just blow people up. So far, 29 people killed. Do you have any names? Who were those human beings? Were they all narco-terrorists? No collateral damage? Are you sure? I'm not. I don't know. Just don't have enough information. That makes me worry.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
We're back. What else we got going on? This is making people take a second look, especially those who are saying there wasn't an organic protest today, the Snow Kings thing. Here, this is New York City at the end of the No Kings rally, and the crowd dissipated very, 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 very quickly, which is raising suspicion. Here it is just moments after. It was a massive crowd, and then suddenly this. And people are online tonight saying, where did all the people go? How did they get out of there so quickly? It's a conspiracy! Is it? I don't know. If you're down there at Times Square, they get huge crowds down there for a lot of events all year long. And I would say they probably are pretty good at moving people in and out of the area, large crowds, whether it's this kind of thing or a New Year's Eve celebration where people watch the big ball drop. So I don't know if that's really a fair thing to worry about. Not going to worry about that one too much. I just offer it up as another little nugget of information tonight. So what else? Did I miss anything with regard to the big rallies? No, I think we pretty much got her covered. So overall, from what I'm seeing, I think it was, generally speaking, maybe even entirely, with the exception of a few arrests here and there across the United States, a peaceful, massive, organized, organic rally against Donald Trump and the No Kings thing and blah, 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 and people upset about this and that and all who whatever. It was another big rally against Trump. And the size of the crowds shows that you have millions of people who don't like the current president. But on the other side, you have a lot of people that still do. In short, what we saw today was America divided. And Canada, too. We have more. Stay with me.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I'm just going to look in the chat here. Yeah, please like, share, subscribe if you're so inclined. Doesn't cost you anything to like. Doesn't cost anything to share. Doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Helps the channel. Unless you hate me. In which case you should still like, share, and subscribe, because who you going to love to hate more than me? Just looking in the chat again, some people reminiscing about old talk shows, I guess, here. Jerry Springer. Yeah, that was pretty entertaining. That was shock TV. Although he was a very smart guy, became mayor of Cincinnati. And what else are we talking about here? CBC Brown 44, even Phil Donahue, if you remember him, or Maury Povich, or Are You the Father, Dangerous to Our Society? I don't know. I remember those talk shows. Phil Donahue, Democrat, a very popular talk show at a time when the country was a lot less divided, but not this divided. Maury Povich, I never watched much of Maury Povich. Yeah, Phil Donahue. Dr. Phil. Definitely MAGA. Benefiting from that. And Serge in 2926 says Charlie Kirk is in Valhalla. What does that mean? Means some people think, on the one hand, that's a phrase for like heaven, I guess, but that's what Kash Patel said. But he didn't say that day when Kash Patel, FBI director, made reference to Charlie Kirk and Valhalla. He didn't explain what Valhalla meant, but some would interpret that as being heaven, maybe. On the other hand, Valhalla, we're told by some people that that's a place where they take people in the witness protection program. So very strange choice of words, or word, by Kash Patel. And that has just fueled conspiracies and theories and conspiracy theories, which is one of the things that's mentioned in Weekend at Charlie's, the song that I put together as one of the Maverick and the News Brothers tunes. Not because I was criticizing Charlie Kirk. I was highlighting the exploitation of his death. But you have to have at least half a brain cell to understand, if you pay attention to the lyrics. That's what the song is about. And which I find very distasteful. Fireworks at his funeral? I mean, oh my God. Like, how gaudy is that? And I mean, not godly, I mean gaudy, like gross. Fireworks. Although you know what? I want them. This is what I want at my funeral. Not that I want to talk about that, because it's like inviting disaster, right? Begging for trouble. No. I want fireworks. I want it to be a giant spectacle. I want huge numbers of people to come, and I want everyone to cry. It will make me feel better to see so many sad people that I'm gone. That's what I keep wishful thinking. I'll probably get a couple of people like, who was he? I don't know. Oh, well. Put him in. End of that. Enough of that. This is two more, but how did we get on this subject? What a strange night this is. Where am I at? Okay, so Rick Scott says, yeah, just screw Maduro. What was I talking about? I've completely lost my train of thought now. Charlie Kirk. Yeah, everybody come. But if you come, crying is mandatory at my funeral. I want a lot of tears. What's going on in Alaska? Homes destroyed. Alaska communities reel from devastating flood. I wasn't aware of this until just before airtime. I did queue this up, not really fully versed in the details. So I'm just going to bring up the ABC stream on this. But it looks pretty serious. We've got a lot of people evacuated. In the aftermath of a destructive typhoon, historic floodwaters have destroyed remote communities across western Alaska, forcing hundreds of evacuations that could continue for days, officials say. Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy toured the damage in Kipduk and Quillinggok. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. Yesterday they toured there. Kipnuk's in bad shape. It's a disaster area. Homes are tossed everywhere, and it looks like a blast radius because of the surge and the wind. And he added, there's a handful of people still there trying to get aspects of the village back together. Has this been getting any play? This is terrible. And very little in terms of coverage. I wonder why. Photos from the Alaska National Guard show around 300 displaced individuals taking shelter in a C-17 aircraft, as you can see right there. Alaskans have already come together to raise more than $1 million in support, and the fund is still growing, the Alaska Community Foundation said in a news release. So I hope those folks find a quick path to recovery up there. Dunleavy said he signed an application for a presidential disaster declaration asking President Donald Trump to declare a major disaster for Alaska as a result of this storm. Alaska previously experienced major flooding in 2023 when a glacier lake outburst occurred on the Mendenhall Glacier, located about 12 miles north of Juneau, Alaska. 2023 flooding destroyed homes situated along the river, with decades worth of erosion happening in one weekend, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. One more story to keep on the radar. And yeah, not very much coverage on that at all. Overshadowed by what else? Trump. I'll be right back.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world. Treasures to protect, built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, developed by Brightleaf Innovations, proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
Okay. I know you want me to talk about it. I know it. I don't want to, but you force my hand every night. And if not you, then the mainstream media, because even they talk about it. But they don't give you the whole story. because they just don't dig enough, because they don't really invest the time in true investigative journalism. Here's Global. Third arrest made in connection with BC ostrich farm. Yeah, we showed you yesterday that Jim Kerr, political activist, who got arrested. Why did he get arrested? Well, I told you the truth. Some people freaked out when I did that, because what did he do? He got arrested accidentally on purpose. Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. No, he didn't, Rick. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. It's unjustified. No, he got arrested accidentally on purpose. That's why he live streamed the offense to make a political disruption. That's what he was doing. It was totally intentional. And then at the end of the whole thing, he went behind the fence that had been set up, a big steel fence to keep people out. And he goes around it because there's a police tape line on the other side. I don't know where the line to not cross might be. Would it be the fence that's like 8 feet tall and goes all the way down to the end of the property? Or would it be that police line just on the other side? Yes, the fence, dude. And you know that. And then he went and climbed up, went around the fence, climbed down in, and then went over, because there was bird seed very conveniently located on the ground, by the way, right near where a bunch of these ostriches were. And he throws this seed at them. Whatever. So then the next day, he gets arrested for doing that and live streaming it. If you're gonna do something like that, and you really just cared about the birds, and you weren't sure whether it was legal or not, and you just wanted to do something for the birds, like, I don't know about you, but if I was just doing it to help the bird, I wouldn't be live streaming it. But he did. Then came up, and at the end of it all, as he climbing up, I don't know what it was, some sort of a implement or a structure or something at the end of the fence, so he could get up and around over past the fence again and back on the other side, where he's positioned his camera to strategically live stream the whole thing. And as he's climbing up, he talks to the camera and he says, what was it? Something like, I'm paraphrasing, but sometimes you don't want to break the law, but you bend them. So he knew exactly what he was doing. I'm sorry, but not sorry. And you know what? I'm not alone. I'll show you that in a moment. But and I'm gonna talk about this. I'm not gonna give you the name, but just so it shows you how people are losing their freaking minds. You tell me, how would you take somebody who sends you something like this? Okay, somebody sent me this. I'm getting a bunch of things like this, but this is from somebody who I thought was my friend, okay, who's like so deranged when it comes to these stupid birds. This is what it sends me. You as a reporter must understand that you piss off the wrong people. Word gets around. It's a small world. I'll read it again. You as a reporter must understand that you piss off the wrong people. Word gets around. It's a small world. What's that sound like? This is somebody tied in, right? I'm looking in the chat. Anybody have any comments on that? What does that sound like to you? Yeah, somebody saying, holy SHIT, Rick, another threat. Linda says, that's no friend, Rick. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Dragon, a threat. Lindy Biggs, a death threat. Yep. Vicky says some people really hate hearing the truth, and that sounds like a threat to me. Yep, threat for sure. Yet scary. Don't take threats seriously. Says D. A threat. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's not the first time, not the first one. I'm getting many. The ones directed at me, honestly, and there's lots of them. This one here, I didn't like that one because it came from somebody that I've really tried to be friendly with. I really am. And I like the person very much. Sort of. Not so much today. And yeah, because I know kind of what's behind it too. But you know what I really don't like? I don't like it when you threaten my dog. And I also know, just to give you guys some perspective on what's really going on, there are some people, even people within our little community here, who are not on the conservative side, not really on the freedom side, who claim to be, but they're really on the left, and they're political activists who are over here acting like they're conservatives. It's taken me a while to kind of figure out who they are. And some of them send information to me, or even fake information. And just as an example, one of these people sent me information about telling me that somebody else that we both mutually know, that, well, anyway, he was telling me that somebody wanted to kill my dog. But when I really started to kind of look at it, he made it up. He made up the threat against my dog so I would be mad at somebody else, because he's just playing a stupid game. This is the kind of bullshit that I'm dealing with every day. It's stupid. This is why people have lost their minds. And that's why I haven't been opening the phone lines, because some people will call and just sabotage. And that's just surface level shit. You have no idea the other crap that's going on online with the attacks, all because I honestly, and I say, everybody says they're telling you the truth. I don't really have an investment in this story. I told you, I didn't even want to cover it from the beginning. I didn't want to. But as I dug into it, I was like, holy crap, I can't believe this. I can't believe I got this piece of information. Is this really going on? Were they really using these birds for COVID research, cashing in? Like, seriously, really? It's true. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm finding this out. And then it's just becoming, painfully clear that they're just being dishonest about so much, and selective information, and they're spinning up a narrative. And then I'm seeing all these streamers coming in, recruited out there, that stupid ostrich farm with these stupid birds, where they're using information warfare, whatever it is, to get people emotionally invested, not thinking clearly at all, to the point where I get messages like that just because I'm telling you the truth. But tonight, there's a little glimmer of hope that maybe we can get to some actual facts. Strangely, from some people that I never would have expected this stuff coming from, but some people are catching up with information that I conveyed to everybody here months ago now, because this thing has dragged on for months and months and months with these crazy, crazy birds. And if you're not going to listen to me, maybe go listen to these guys. And these guys don't want the birds to die. But they also don't want to die on this hill politically, because they have now come to realize that a lot of what I've been telling you for months is true. It's true. Here's Pat King and Freedom George. And they brought this other dude on. I don't know if I know this other guy, this Joe guy. I think he knows me. I'm going to play you a clip from him in a bit. He hates me. So there's no bias here pro Rick. Okay. These guys, I don't think these guys, I don't know. Do they hate me? I don't know. I don't really have any connections with these guys, to be quite honest. Not really. But they've clued in.
And, you know, I just backed away from it. And then I found a video of Katie, literally, I think it was in 2021, stating that they injected half of their flock
with the COVID.
And you're going to see that on this show.
Yeah.
And then there was another video of a panel of 4 with Dave Belitsky down in the bottom, and there was a doctor talking about them injecting these birds as well. And he does not correct them or stop them in what they're saying.
Because it's true.
So I am completely out, right? So that's why I backed away, guys. But I'm always about the truth. I haven't stopped being the way I am. When my gut's telling me there's something wrong, I back away. And that's exactly what I did. And now there's lots of evidence out there. I do not want to see these birds killed. I don't at all. I'm an animal lover. I really am. But we want the truth. We want the truth, and we're not getting the truth.
That's right.
Okay. So here we are today. You know, we're not going to stop just being truthers. You know, the freedom movement, it should be the truth movement at this point.
Thank you.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to say, guys, is we stand with everything when it comes to inappropriate government overreach. Okay. That's number one.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, from a safety standpoint, from an environmentalist, from a you know, a safety professional background, and a major in industrial hygiene, which is the testing of airborne atmospheres and, you know, donning of masks and oxygen deficient atmospheres, along with oxygen enriched atmospheres. I understand how the safety protocol is put into place in order to keep 100% the public safe and the worker safe. Now, there is a safety threshold that must be met. And when you start dealing with science experiments, okay, there is a level of protocol that must be followed when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying I'm an expert in the viruses or things like that when it comes to safety stuff, but what I am an expert, what I claim and I feel that I have an extensive knowledge of, is the protocol and safety measures that are put into place in order to protect yourself, workers, environment, and the public. Now, the CFIA should be testing these birds, but their protocol states no testing. It's in their contract, no testing. And in fact, they threatened the farm that if you test, you're going to be fined $200,000 because you're not a professional in your field of testing. Okay, you don't know if you're doing it correctly. You don't know if what you're doing you have to have what's called a competency level of skill in order to do this. All right. So there is no competency for you to do that. And if you hired outsourced to an outsourced agency to do the testing, the agency is under requirements to follow the protocol of the CFIA. And if the CFIA set the protocol.
Okay, so, you know, it goes on and on. The point is that they've come up with I can't make this stop. What is going on? Hang on. Let me okay. This other guy, Joe, what's this guy's name? He came on here as a guest. Here, I'm going to bring this back up. Here we go.
I've watched this from the backseat. I've seen what's happening, and I've seen somebody hobsnobbing with the cops, thinking they're their best friends, and the cops are just here to do their job. Well, if you don't break the fucking law, you're not going to get arrested.
That's true.
I want to add this video right now, and this pissed me off. What you're seeing in this video, ladies and gentlemen, right now, is you see the gate. You're not allowed to cross that gate by law. Who's that jumping over the gate? Who's that jumping over the gate and pushing food to the birds?
Well, why is that food out there like that so the birds can't eat it as well? Like, I see why he got arrested, but I also, I see what he's doing too. And I hope Jim is out. I spent time with Jim. That's why he got arrested, was this video?
This video, yes. So Jim jumped the gate, as compassionate as Jim wants to be. But I'm seeing people saying that the arrest was without merit. And that is the word that I'm trying to get. The merit is there, as you can see. Understand Jim's compassion, okay, for the birds. He's been out there forever on this. But this is what is going on, okay? So I want this, and I'm just going to remove it now. We're just going to let it. I'm going to stop. Hang on one second. Okay. So that is why I wanted to show this. Oh, wait. I want to share this again. There's something I missed in this video. Let me share it one more time.
Mm-hmm. It's a little piece at the end, I think.
Hang on. I'm just going to take it back a bit.
Yep.
Why would he videotape himself? Is that him video and that's his own phone?
Yes.
I don't understand why Jim would do something like that.
Because it's a political stunt.
Why is he videotaping himself? I'm confused.
I just told you why.
Doing that, knowing that you're not allowed to do that.
Listen to this.
I'm not saying we have to break the line, but sometimes we got to bend them.
Huh?
See that?
Right.
What he's saying there is, sometimes we don't got to break the line, but we can bend them. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yes.
Well, I don't think so, because he wouldn't have videotaped himself
Yes,
to
he would.
incriminate himself.
Yes, he did.
So,
according to the cops in Ottawa, my videos incriminated myself, so I didn't.
Yeah, I know, but you think you would know? I would, if I was doing that, I would probably do that too. I certainly wouldn't be videotaping it. And I would make sure nobody else was videotaping it either.
Right.
So I did not get arrested.
I agree.
So he's aware of the issue. So anybody who's saying, no, I don't agree with the cops being there. I don't agree with CFIA being there. But Jim has already put out a disclaimer about how he's friends with the cops. They're all getting along. One of the cops even says, I respect Jim and we have a job to do and we're all very respectful.
Yep.
But unfortunately, you knew the rules were there.
Yep.
Understand everybody's fighting in the background, but then you went and did that.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. That is not an arrest without merit.
That's
right. So Chris Dacey, love your work, man. But that is wrong. What you just did, what you put out in your post.
That's right.
And I'm not calling you out on it.
Well,
what I'm calling you out on is there was merit for that arrest because the rules were put into place.
Right.
Okay. So that's the first one I want to put down to rest. Jim got arrested because Jim broke the fucking law. Yeah. Okay, the law was there, the rules were there, they were in place. Jim agrees. He was working with the cops, he was agreeing with the cops, and Jim violated that. Okay, Jim, it is what it is, buddy. I'm just calling it for what I see. You can hate me later, you can give me a hug later, you can do whatever you want later. But Jim, this is no way is this in an attack towards you. Okay, so anybody out there, make sure that you put that out there to let them know that I'm not out there attacking Jim Kerr.
And Jim is out, hopefully, and safe, and not in jail anymore. I'm not sure. So
no, he's been released.
I've been busy all
he's
morning.
Fine.
I haven't looked at anything.
They didn't rough him up or anything.
Fair. I hope so too. I don't want to see anybody in jail at the same time.
I don't want to see anybody arrested out there.
At the same time, I just want to put that out there because what you guys are following right now is what it seems to be is an absolute, and I fucking hate to say it, man, but it feels very like psychological optics. It's a psyop, and there's things going on that we're going to break down and get into this stuff.
Yes.
First and foremost, I want to introduce the next guest that's coming in. The next gentleman, his name's Joe Dolan. Yeah. I'm going to let George introduce you to Joe. And Joe, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up is there. All right, everybody, welcome to the show, Joe Dolan.
This is a show. That's a
show.
Joe. That's going out at the farm.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
Hey buddy,
George, I'll leave it to you.
Okay, so just a little background about Joe here, guys. Joe is
he's got some health issues and stuff, and he's been fighting the system, the health system for quite a few years, and I'll let him explain that if he wants to. It's his story, but he's very knowledgeable in a lot of things. You know, when Pat went to jail, Joe kind of stepped in as one of my best friends, you know, and all we do is we talk on the phone quite a bit. And, you know, Joe is a truther. He doesn't like lies. He doesn't like liars.
Me either.
And he just searches for the truth. And, you know, he's helped me through a lot of situations with things that I was doing, protesting, and situations that I was in, helping me think critically and see things from the other perspectives of other people. And he kind of taught me how to see both sides of the stories and the different perspectives of people and that. So, you know, Joe's got that going for him there. And he's been a good pal of mine. He just doesn't like the lies, right? And he won't put up with it. And, you know, everybody's saying, go to the source. Why aren't you going to the source? Going to the source. Well, you're going to see in this show that Joe went to the source many times, tagged them, asked them many questions, and all he got was blocked and deleted and no responses and stuff. So it put him into a research mode. It pissed him off. And he went deep diving. And here we are today. So he's going to show you guys a lot of evidence today, and videos and clips, and he's going to talk about a lot of things he's very knowledgeable about. And the one thing I like about Joe is he doesn't BS. He's only going to speak about what he knows and the facts. He's not going to speak about things that he doesn't know and just make shit up. That he doesn't do that whatsoever, you know. So
I want to just put something quick to rest. I can see all the ostrich farm people in here with their little ostrich logos.
Yep.
You can say what you want. You can say George and I caused problems in the convoy, or you can say whatever you want. We know the truth. We know what's going on. This isn't about any of that shit. You guys got to understand. We're all about the facts, okay? You can hate me. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I never have. I'm not here to make fucking friends. But what I am here to do is I'm here to tell the truth. And I'm here to show the truth about what's going on. All right? So you don't like me? That's fine. But your cognitive dissonance is kicking in so fucking hard right now that you're all butthurt that we're going to bring out some facts. Why are you so fucking butthurt about us bringing out facts? You guys are looking like a fucking cult. Okay?
Yes, I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
But I'm
I
not
know.
sorry.
I know.
You're looking like a bunch of deranged lunatics for trying to detract from what we're trying to say. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because this is how bad it's gotten. When Joe starts asking for answers and we start reaching out to talk to people and we get shut down. When we start talking about an ostrich farm and how this doesn't answer, this doesn't sound right, this doesn't look right, all of a sudden you start coming at us. You start coming at us and attacking us because we're fucking trying to find the truth out. I'm sorry. I had to put that out there. I hope it pisses you off too, because I'm done with this.
I'm never going to change. I go where the truth's at. And that's it.
Good.
That's what God wants too, the truth. So people throwing all this God stuff at me and I'm going to be answering to God and stuff. I am answering to God already. God's going to judge me. Yeah, God's the only one that should be judging. Right? Right?
Yep.
So, like, let's just and you know, one thing I like about these two gentlemen is we could disagree on stuff and still be friends and have conversations. We don't agree on everything. We don't maybe like what one guy said in this live video or that live video or you know, whatever, but it doesn't cause problems with us. And I wish more people were like that. I really do. Where we can, you know, have different opinions and search for different things, and you don't have to attack. Have you seen me attack anybody about anything that they're saying or doing out there?
No, I haven't done one thing.
Go and see if you can find it. You can't.
The one thing I'm having an issue with for anybody out there right now, the thing I'm having an issue with is when we ask for answers and we go to the source, that we aren't getting the fucking answers. And in fact, we're getting stonewalled and we're getting attacked. So that's why I'm doing this live with Joe. Joe, introduce yourself. Let's get this going.
Hi, guys. I guess I'll start with a little about me. try and make that part as short as possible. I got Lyme disease. I became very ill.
I'm going to pull out of this, and I'm going to go to, because there's just a lot of, let me see if I can, there we go. Okay. I was able to stop that video, so it's not playing in my ears right now. I'm going to bring up this video of Joe Dolan, just because it's going to cut to the chase. And just to also show you that, and I figured out who he is. I have spoken to Joe in the past. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. I think he and I used to talk on the phone a lot a couple of years ago. And we became actually quite friendly for a while until he decided that I was a liberal. At which point everything changed. And even though he's saying he wishes that people could just disagree and get along, it did when he decided that everything changed. But I won't get into the particulars. It wasn't really because I'm a liberal. He didn't really accuse me of being a liberal at that time, but he's been listening to someone out there, I think, who has been accusing me of being a liberal because it's a convenient label to affix to someone like myself in order to try to discredit me in some way. And I'm not going to get into that tonight. But the guy who's been doing that actually voted for Trudeau, as many of you know. Anyway, here's Joe expressing his displeasure with me while at the same time acknowledging that, the information that I've been sharing out there is actually factual. I don't know if he's tuned in with what I've been sharing previously in the months previous, but he's now coming around and finding a lot of the same information that I and a few others, and some of the information I shared was because it was found by some others as well. And then I was able to verify. I didn't just put the stuff out there, but Joe has been uncovering a lot of the same information, and it's very concerning, and it doesn't fit the narrative. Anyway, he doesn't like me. From what I gather, Joe, I still like Joe, but he doesn't like me.
Talk to people from the farm. Their exact words to me. No, sorry, not to me. This one was a quote from that was told from one of these larger accounts that are at the farm. I can't really say names because then I'm ratting people out. But she turns those tears on and off like a tap was the quote. I haven't been there for myself, so I don't know. I know this. There's enough information out there right now between the court documents, the affidavits, the patents that aren't supposed to exist that Katie says it can't be patented because it's natural. Meanwhile, there's patents all over the place.
Farm. Yeah.
It's enough to raise your eyebrows, right? There's enough evidence. There's enough money involved. There's enough players involved. Enough calling for UNDRIP. You know what I mean? All of these things. They have to at least make the critical mind wonder whether it's a fact or not, whether it's a psyop. I can't tell you, but I can tell you it's not honest. There's nothing honest about it. If it was honest, when I messaged Katie and asked her if she would like to come on the Pat King show, she would have replied. She didn't. She doesn't ever reply. None of them do. Even Jim Kerr's wife there the other day, I'm going to ask Katie about it. Well, I'm going to call bullshit. But I don't know if she did or she didn't, but you don't have to ask Katie. Enough people, Jim Kerr's been called out by, I don't even want Maverick News. Fuck, I hate giving him a plug. The liberal right-winger, I don't even know what to say about that guy. He ended up going after my buddy. I was trying to help him. He was losing his mind, and he ended up going after my buddy, and that was enough of that.
I have no idea what he's talking about, but I'll try and find out.
But Jim Kerr's been, called out about these injections because many people didn't And they still don't. That's where this started with me, was all of these people were telling me that the birds aren't injected. Now, there is a small percentage of the people that know that they are. And they're saying everybody knows this, but they don't. That's not the truth. Not everybody knows this. Most people don't. And you can look down my profile. You can see a couple of videos and reels there from Jim Kerr where he talks about natural antibodies, and he talks about drawing the antibodies from the eggs, right? Natural infection. Talks about H5N1. The birds got sick, but no mention of these shots, right? And I mean, I think I've went into that, what the effects of, if I don't know the preservative, I can't speak specifically, but we all detox differently. So do ostriches, and you put enough shots in them. I mean, if one baby can go to one well visit, one child, and have a change in their life from one shot or a combination, say MMR, or DTaP. Sorry about that. My brain is not good. Then what can happen to an ostrich with multiple injections, right? Like I said, the pseudomonas is not an infection that is common as a secondary infection to H5N1. It would most likely be E. coli or staph. It's in the literature. The patents, they're all there. Everything's there. Everything I spoke about as far as adjuvants, Froon's adjuvants, that's all there too. In Europe, I don't even think they're allowed to use that mix. I think it's completely, what is it called? Anyways, it's banned. I mean, it depends on what side of the aisle you're on, right? I am anti-vaccine, right? I'm anti-science experiments on ostriches, monkeys, like dolphins. You know what? Rats are ugly creatures. I'm not even really into that. But yeah, let's not science experiments on the dolphins that are your pets that you care about so much and cry over. If you did, you wouldn't sign them up with the Liberal government for money. It's a cash cow. It's a COVID cash cow. Nothing's natural. Nothing. Let's be very clear. There's nothing natural. And I know you guys watching this, you already know that. But there's nothing natural about ostrich eggs in people, and there's nothing natural about lab-derived antigens or proteins or spike proteins or dead COVID vaccine going into those birds.
Right.
Whatever they did. Now, I believe on Canuck Law, I've read something about boosters every 2 weeks, and that's absolutely disgusting, guys. I don't know. I mean, oh my God, right? Like, for me, that's crazy. Okay. That's that 30. I don't know if the 36 antibodies are referring to total with this Japanese scientist, or that's actually the farm, right? Why would it be included in the affidavit if it has something to do with I don't know, maybe, I don't know, right? Because I can't find the quotes. I'm not good at searching on these law things, but I know because I was searching, I've read almost all of it. So I'm quite aware of the CFIA's stance.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that there was dead carcasses laying and being eaten by by animals and openly exposed, finding a dead bird laying in the driveway. I mean, I can't claim that's true. I'm not saying that.
It's documented. And I'm making that crap up. It just, I don't know if you're making sense of what he's saying, but yeah, these birds were experimented on. First, it was a food producing farm. The birds were used for food. They've also been used for research. COVID research during the pandemic pivoted entirely to research, we were told, although evidence that they were still selling the meat at times through their own local distribution. I can go on and on about this stuff, but the one thing to kind of take away that really resonates is when Joe, who I remember now, in phone conversations, but I've never seen his face before. I'm pretty sure it's him. Hello, Joe, my friend. You'll like me again eventually. He said it's not honest, because it isn't. What's going on at that farm is far from honest. They're telling you a story, not the story. They're giving you some information, not all of the information. They may be telling you things that are true, but they're not telling you the whole truth. That's why when you go to court and you swear to tell the truth, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But that is not what you are getting out at that farm. You're getting a little bit of truth wrapped around that. You're getting a whole bunch of narrative, selective information, all slanted to lead you to believe a particular thing, or more importantly, to make you feel a certain way, to get emotionally invested in the birds, which they have named, personified, turned into almost like humans, characters, to make you feel for them, to get you on their side. And there is a lot of politics, and there's a lot of money at play out there, and there's international politics and foreign influence and grifting for sure. That's part of it. It's just all of these things have come together to create a circus. And the ringmaster has been the head of the Church of Bubbles, the village clown. Like literally, that's his role, to cause disruption. And it just goes on. And people are just buying it, falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. And whatever, you can be on that side if you choose to be. I just gave you all the information, and that's why they're afraid of me. That's why I'm getting threats from somebody who previously, just recently, told me to shut the F up. Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think I want to hitch my wagon to Bubble Boy, because I don't want to lie for someone or misrepresent in order to cover somebody's butt when they've done something wrong, especially when they do it intentionally as a political stunt. And then I'm accused of being a backstabber. I don't owe Jim Kerr a thing, but I owe you something. I owe you the truth, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, whether Joe likes it or not, or Pat King or Freedom George or anybody else. That's my job. I'm going to keep on doing it. And I'm glad those guys have finally kind of caught up, and they're cluing in. And now they're raising flags of warning as well. Haven't watched all their material, but they're tapping into a bunch of it. I can see. Here, I'll give you a little bit more from the Pat King show. Oops, not that one. We want this one here. Here we go. Just to show you that they are tapping into the same, finally, the same reservoir of documentation.
The media. I see some different stuff, but I definitely see her pulling up on some global news events. I don't really know, but what I do know is whoever's making that messaging knows exactly what they're doing, or that's how it feels to me. And it's the same message in almost every video. And I want to draw the attention to natural cures, and big pharma doesn't want it and stuff like this. So we're talking bio and tech. You want me to get into that?
Yeah. Do you want me to pull up that slide?
Which one?
Hang on, let me just go to it here quick. The one about inactivated COVID-19 vaccines, potential concerns of antibodies. You know what? Just go ahead. When I see something fit in, I'll ask you which one you want me to show. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's right on savetheostriches.com anyways, but it's in the affidavits. It's all over the place. So we'll pull them up as we go, yeah. But bio and tech companies, how that works is they do the studies. You know, there's another supplier maybe for the antibodies themselves. They do the studies, and then normally what would happen, like if you were in a pandemic event situation where you were trying to put out mass production, now that tech would be sold to the highest bidder and then mass produced by one of the pharma giants. So that's how that goes.
Yeah, they were cashing in, trying to.
Keep me going, Pat.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the post. I'm just going to pull it up here. The post with the links that we have that I'm just trying to find it again. Sorry guys, Joe's, when we tried to put all this evidence package together, it kind of got a little jumbled when it got sent to me, so I don't have the things queued up, but I'm going into, are you talking commitment to transparency? I'm trying to find the post right now where all the links, the Canley links, all of those links, is that where it is?
In there, you have a link on that post that you shared, you're talking about?
Yes.
There's a link to Immune Biosolutions right there.
Okay, let me just pull that up really quick. And of course, I'm going to go a little slower than everybody else because I am presently outside. Oh, no, wrong place. Okay, keep going, Joe, and I'll pull it up for you.
Okay, so Immune Biosolutions, and the pandemic came by, a whole bunch of people were jumping on board. We know we have money funneling going on. Let's keep that in mind too, okay? But Immune Biosolutions was funded $13.44 million by the Liberal government for COVID-related cures.
Research.
Mostly anytime you take an antigen of any sort that has preservatives and adjuvants
for a while,
it doesn't matter whether it's a COVID spike, dead COVID spike protein, as Katie has claimed, and it doesn't matter whether it's COVID spike or dead COVID vaccine, she said.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, I showed this.
It doesn't matter whether it's a COVID spike protein or it's a dead viral antigen from another virus. Yep. It's all the same, right? It's all just pieces of virus put into an injection and injected. And on their website, so this is just to show that Immune Biosolutions received $13.44 million, right?
Yeah.
We know where that came from. We know who the government was in charge. Doesn't really matter. Probably would have happened either way. So there's also the Japanese scientists who are involved in this.
Yeah. So the University of Tokyo or University of Japan or whatever they are, U of F or whatever. Or no.
Tsukamoto, I think, is the doctor's name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, Tsukamoto.
And so I think they're all involved on some level. I mean, I have a screenshot.
Okay, so
we'll go through it slowly here.
Look, we don't need to. We have. Maybe we will. He's going to go. He's going to go to their website to show you they've got the same information here at the Ostrich Farm website.
The saveourostriches.com official statement. Copy that. Okay. So let's share this screen. Hang on one second, guys. I'll just remove this. And then we'll share that screen. Okay. Here it is right there for you, buddy. All right.
All right, scroll down. 30 years. I want to stop there for a second. So Structural Bioscience launched in May 2022. This division partnered with Dr. Tsukamoto of Kyoto University to develop purify ostrich-derived antibodies, IgY, for research and therapeutic applications. Excuse me for, I'm very nervous.
It's okay.
Scroll down. Mission to advance sustainable farming, contribute to the scientific. Okay, stop there. Antigen exposure. In our project, we use only non-infectious antigens to stimulate the antibody production in laying heads and egg yolks, which, while doing research, this is a standard process. Anyways, you can read it, right?
Yeah.
These fragments cannot cause disease. Antibodies are safely harvested from the egg yolks without harming the birds. Okay, antigens, where do you get them? But anytime you put an antigen into something, you have to have preservatives and adjuvants. So the adjuvant fires the immune system and gets it to recognize the antigen, okay? And then we produce antibodies, and those are the antibodies that they're drawing from the legs. And the preservative of some sort has to be there, because otherwise you risk fungal and bacterial growth inside the vial.
Okay, blah, 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 a lot of stuff. Okay, they're starting to get into it. So I'm glad that they're finally finding the information and sharing it out there as well. And I'm glad that Pat King drew attention to what Jim Kerr did, because I'm being attacked too. Because I'm not interested in lying for people or covering their ass when they do something wrong. Intentionally, especially. And then they're going to turn around and ask you to donate to pay their legal bills for a political stuff, which you may want to do because maybe you see value in that. And maybe there is value in that. But you need to be aware of what's really going on. He wasn't arrested for something that wasn't arrested. It was an arrest with merit, if you want to phrase it that way. And they don't talk now about the antigens and the COVID research, which they did. Karen Esperson talked about it initially with me in my first interview with her. And I do give everyone a voice here. I have been balanced in my coverage. I've spoken to everybody, and I will continue to speak to people, but I don't think they'll speak to me because they told the truth. It's just that in the beginning, they were sharing more information than their social media managers now want them to be sharing. And it was inconvenient, and it just didn't play well because it was too true. And so now, yeah, they don't respond. They won't go on Pat King's show. They probably won't come on here. I'm told they won't talk to me anymore. Your loss. Well, our loss. Maybe because they just want to win. They don't want you to have the truth. And they're certainly not being completely transparent. They're not being honest. And the whole thing with the antigens, it's just a claim. They have, when it comes to the bird flu side, they did a lot with the birds on COVID. They have nothing that I've seen. And I don't believe, I'm pretty certain. I've said this, show me the study into the bird flu research. They claim they have these antibodies. They claim that these birds can save humanity. They claim that this is an all-natural solution to the bird flu problem, whatever that means. It's not at this moment even a major threat to humans. It's a problem for birds with only a few people, human beings, being infected. But they have no studies into this. What they're saying is that these birds didn't die, therefore they're special. And in fact, that's not even unusual for ostriches. The number of birds that survived that bird flu outbreak back in December, they had 69 of the frickin' things die. It's clear the flock was infected. And yeah, a certain percentage of the ostriches died. The rest did not. That's not unusual for ostriches. Ostriches are not chicken, but they are poultry. and they're efficient carriers of the disease. And there are a whole bunch of reasons why the CFIA issued the cull order for the ostriches. It's not just a simple cut and dried, they don't look sick, we're not going to kill them equation. And I don't want to get into all the nitty gritty. The point, the broader point here tonight is I'm not alone anymore. And even people who hate me are coming on board with the truth, or at least some of the truth. There's more there. They're getting it. They're starting to dig into it. And they're saying, wait a minute, didn't know this. This is an inconvenient truth. And we're not going to get back to normalcy. Not going to get back to normal. We're not going to get our country back. We're not going to get back to the way things, well, were, sort of, whatever that means. We're not going to get to a better place if we just trade one set of lies for another, or trade whatever we have for a bunch of lies. And a half-truth is the same as a lie because it's not truthful. It's a piece of truth wrapped up in a lie, or a distortion, which is the same thing as a lie. The truth is elusive, but a lie is always just a lie. Unfortunately, they keep spinning up lies faster than we can debunk them. Because as you've seen, it's taken months for these guys to say, wait a minute, look at this, and now bring it forward at this point, when this really should have been settled a long time ago, many months ago. And here we are, and we're just getting to this point now with more people with prominent platforms saying, wait a minute, check this out. This doesn't add up. And why won't they talk to us about it? Because they've got social media managers out there. It's a media campaign. You can call it a psyop if you want. It's managed perception. They're trying to sell you something out there, and it ain't good. And what are you saving the birds for? I mean, if you want to save the birds, you better understand what you're saving them for too, right? It's just like those, maybe worse than what they want to do with the whales out of Marineland. You want to ship them off to an amusement park, Marineland type place in China, or is it Japan? One or the other. I think it's China. And the government won't let them go because they don't want to condemn them to a life of performing in an amusement park, which I think would be a much better, at least it would be a life, and they would have stimulation, and they'd be cared for, and they'd continue to live. You can't let them go into the wild because they'll die. At this point, they're too domesticated, I expect. So you've got all those beluga whales, but concerned about the welfare of those whales. But what about these ostriches? What are you saving them for? What? So they can be experimented on more? Injected more? First COVID for years, injected like with these antigens every couple of weeks. And here's and now condemned to maybe months or years more of testing for bird flu. And then what do they do with them when they're done with that? You're certainly not going to eat them, although they've been feeding them to people anyway. Unknowingly, people didn't know. And the antibodies in the eggs, they're somehow going to save you or protect you from what and how? You can't just like extract the antibodies and then what are you going to do with them? These antibodies. Like people think, oh, they have antibodies, they're going to save us. What does that mean? They're not even thinking it through. What do they use the antibodies for? Well, so far they've made hair tonic to make hair grow, or that's the claim. That's debatable. What else have they done? Skin cream, masks. They allege it will glow in the dark or under an ultraviolet light if exposed to COVID. So I guess if you wear the mask and it glows they'll know you've got COVID, and then the COVID cops can come and tackle you, slap the cuffs on, and drag you off to a quarantine center. Like so an alarm bell goes off on your face and you wouldn't even be aware. It starts to glow. Get them! I mean, like, that's what that is. And then air filters or masks that they say will neutralize the COVID virus. It's a claim. When I spoke to I went way beyond what these guys are showing you. I actually spoke to the guy from the mask company in Canada that they were trying to partner with. They got that purchase agreement, intent to purchase, but they had to prove to the company that the technology was there, that they'd done the studies, that it was valid research, and they couldn't do it. So they never made the masks in Canada to neutralize the COVID virus. They didn't make them. Because the guy told me in the interview on this program that the science wasn't there. They would have been selling a product that basically hadn't been proven and likely wouldn't work. Unproven. No science. And no studies. Show me the study into the bird flu that shows that these birds have special immunity, that they're unique in some way and valuable for more research into bird flu, and that somehow that is going to save humanity and maybe, the poultry industry. The study's not there. Studies have been done already, going all the way back to the 1990s, but not by that farm. They didn't do any studies into bird flu there. The birds just didn't die. And they're saying, therefore, these birds have antibodies. Therefore, they're going to save humanity. It's just a claim with nothing to back it up. That's why they keep losing in court. They haven't got a leg to stand on. What will happen with the Supreme Court ruling? I don't know. Maybe they'll find some way to twist it and turn it and flip it upside down when they come up with a ruling, and they'll say, yeah, we're going to hear this case. And but it would be a real departure from standard legal proceedings, because based on the evidence that has been put forward, and this is not me expressing my views on whether the ostriches should live or die. I'm just telling you that from a legal perspective, everything indicates that the Supreme Court is highly unlikely to hear this case because they have failed to provide the kind of evidence that would justify such a hearing, making it a constitutional question. Take it or leave it, man. Like, I know that they're trying to put together a giant convoy or something to go out there for, I think it's November 1st. You want to go out there? Have at it. Maybe you too can get arrested. I don't know. Are they still charging people at the gate? Why do they need your funds when they have the backing now of this big U.S. billionaire out of New York? But they want you to donate. They want to keep you donating. Last count, about $248,000. Is that honest? Costs a lot of money to run that farm. All the information I've come up with is like $400,000 easy just to feed them every year. Feed those birds. About $1,000 a year in feed for each bird. Plus the cost of running the farm on top. It's not a small operation. It's not just a small family farm. This is the largest ostrich operation in Canada. And yeah, they were trying to cash in on the COVID stuff and the government grants. And yes, Immune Biosolutions out of Montreal, that's where they were getting the antigens for a while. And there was government money flowing in there. And I went beyond what he showed you there with that news release. I actually went and I did two things. I spoke to somebody who works at the lab currently, got some information from that person, but they wanted to remain anonymous. I didn't need them to, go public with their name, but I had got enough background information that then I was able to track down a woman who worked for the public relations company that was hired to put out that media release. And I got as much information from her as I possibly could too. I went above and beyond just skimming stuff off the internet or watching some guy's video and, coming up with an opinion based on something that I saw on YouTube. way beyond. It's documented. I know what's going on out there. Not everything. Nobody knows everything all the time. But I know enough to know that Joe is right when he says what's going on out there is not honest. And I sure as hell am not going to bend the knee just because I'm being coerced by people who say they're in favor of free speech but want to silence me. They want me to shut the F up, get in line, or shut me down permanently. I'm not stopping. This ain't over. It's not about the damn ostriches. Never was. And for me, sure as hell isn't. It's just about one thing. Like I keep saying. It's about serving you, serving the best interests of the public through journalism to get us all closer to the truth. Simple as that, man. I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the flip side, here's Maverick and the News Brothers. When am I going to leave you at tonight? Oh, well, you know, it's that time of night. Leave my damn dog alone. See you tomorrow night.
I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry about freedom and running and touching the sky. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. Cosmo's got them paws that just itch to roam. He's chasing his dreams, he's far from home. With a heart full of love and a spirit so free, he's living his life wild and carefree. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a blur. Cosmo's on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes. Now the night's getting cold and the sky's turning gray, but Cosmo's still out there, he's miles away. He's not looking back, he's got his path to tread. With every step, he's leaving his bed. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog. So if you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmo's run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun. And maybe one day, when you're feeling alone, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, won't you still remember me? Cosmo's free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog, he's a free dog, he's a free dog.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.